mission thingy.
Unless you have somehow like 500 gold.
I still have a fuck ton of money because I bought nothing.
Should have bought stuff.
Madman's here now, so we can start. So it's too late for Jamie to buy stuff. Buying stuff is overrated.
We're cool with. Just want to buy land. I have 1,000 gold.
Yeah.
What?
Jamie
You bought
kind
nothing.
of didn't buy anything with all of her stuff.
I didn't buy anything.
Yes, rich.
Casey, hey, can I buy a farm? No, you know what? We'll worry about it later.
Yeah, I think that's something
Guy's
we'll
gonna
do
buy a
in
farm.
character.
Just
How's
remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think that's something we'll do in character.
I'm gonna do that each game now. Just not buy magic items, just buy land.
Slowly buy up all of the land around Titan.
Yeah.
It stops
be a
being
land
D&D and it just becomes like farming simulator.
Yeah, see, that's when I go into playing computer games instead of just stop paying attention. Casey, we would like to time skip 2 seasons so we can harvest our our corn. Roll for blight. Time skip costs £2 though per time skip.
Oh yeah.
In-game transaction.
Yeah, it's a premium transaction. All right, so as we begin our first actual session, we are going to pick up in the most classic and tried and true trope of D&D, and you are beginning your evening at the tavern.
Yoo-hoo!
We are currently within the Flowing Flagon Inn. You have recently returned from... well, the most recent thing you did actually was save the tavern from exploding by throwing a bomb down the pit in the middle of the tavern. Which, by the way, there are patrons of the tavern that are still buying you drinks over that.
Oh, nice.
More further back than that, you did some negotiating for the merchants' alliances, and even a little bit before that, you rescued some slaves and shut down a slaving operation. So you have started to make a little bit of a name and reputation for yourselves.
Even though we have no name.
Even though you have no name, which is why it's only a little bit of a reputation and a name for yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this group of people that don't know what they call themselves did some cool things. Just doesn't spread as quickly as, you know, if you knew what to call you.
Can we figure out a name? I mean, that could be a topic for us sitting here.
Certainly could be a topic here while you're sat at the tavern.
I like that.
But who's sat at the tavern currently?
I would be.
Well, all of you are there unless you specifically do not.
That was a way to shoehorn people's character introductions in. Who's been sitting at the first seat?
Yeah, if you want to go through and do introductions, I know there's been some discussion through the week and through last session, but by all means, let's go ahead and we can go through some introductions. In that case, why don't we go alphabetically by what's on the screen, and we'll start with Eodin.
Shit! Not working in my favor. I was hoping someone else would get tagged. Okay, well...
That's what you get.
How would one describe me? I stand a gnome-sized, smaller than a Goliath, my friends. I can't say I remember much after the red sky appeared. I was sitting in a field. Unfortunately, I had no family at the time, so I teamed up with whatever elf was next to me. This land you live in is strange. The elves here don't remember the First Age. Or don't remember a few years ago. It's quite odd. He sits back and he's got a ball of ale shaped... He's using shape water, essentially, and he's got a ball of ale, like a water drop, and he's just slowly drinking from it.
Oh, like in Bug's Life?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, which does draw a lot of attention in the tavern.
But I was gonna ask before I said that.
On the tavern.
Does this flagon allow magic?
It does. It is actually probably, of all of the places in Titan, this is the place that is the most accepting of magic.
Especially
Okay, good.
considering Elven Wizard just saved the tavern from a bomb.
Well, I'll let you guys do your introductions, and then I'll introduce the barkeep, and you'll understand why this place is quite accepting. So there we have Aodin, who is an elven wizard, a royal elf, meaning that he is actually grew up in the First Age, skipped past the Second Age with no memory whatsoever of it, and found himself here in the Third Age 20 years ago. And has made his way across the ocean towards Titan to try to learn about this strange new world. Alright, next we have the Rust Knight.
What?
Christopher Roches?
Christopher Roches.
Christopher Roches.
And I'm pretty sure that would be a nick. You guys will come up with a nickname after.
Roach.
Good old
Roach.
Rusty.
Damn it. Okay.
You really wanted to be named after the Witcher horse, huh?
Shit. I didn't even think. Okay.
I was thinking Call of Duty.
No, it's good now. Go with
Right.
it.
I will just. Christopher is a newly minted knight. He hasn't been doing this for far too long, or newly minted paladin, I should say. So you guys actually met him on his very first mission, when he was trying to figure out the slaving ring. He thought that would be a very good step for a new paladin to show what he's worth. And because it worked out so great, he thought, well, if I'm gonna make a name for myself and really prove that I am a great paladin, I should stick around with the guys that helped him complete his first mission. So he's a little bit naive and still learning the ropes.
Okay.
And of course, you guys would by now also know that he was unfortunate enough to inherit an armor of someone who had reputation. And sometimes people assume that it's the old guy, the person who previously owned this armor, but he hasn't gone too much into it.
Yeah, you have noticed a few situations where Christopher has walked up to someone with his helm on, and then taken his helm off, and there has been a noticeable change in personality in the person between the two. So whether that comes up more later on, we'll see.
Yep.
All right, next, Tenzin.
Tenzin is a warforged, created some 10 years ago. He was imbibed with particular crystals of power, which you know, imbued, not imbibed, imbued with these crystals of power, which you know to be called psi crystals, which he knows to be called psi crystals. And due to this, or due to a number of different other factors, he has come into a bit of power with the mystic arts. He is a peculiar warforged, not quite unlike, I should say, many other warforged that you've seen. Most of them, in fact, are either a blank slate, very much just do what people say, or are, a hodgepodge of different personalities and different things. He, however, is very much a shining example of a sort of monk. Very peace-loving, very relaxed, though he does not take offense to violence, because he knows that sometimes that is the only option. And he is very good at it, in fact, being able to use his powers for violence. However, he does prefer to use it for peace instead. He is very much new to the whole idea of existence and has a very interesting idea of how the world works. Basically, that we are all in harmony, that all creatures live together as one, that we should all be in peace and cooperation. And he very much strives to make that true for everybody, including tech and magic people.
Because you are, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are basically the result of tech and magic going together, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He is living proof that tech and magic can coincide.
He's like
And the
Romeo
inner
and
peace,
Juliet, but into
the
one.
inner peace he finds within himself should be shared amongst all beings.
Yeah, so as Doc said there, it is worth noting that Warforged, as a whole, have only really been seen in this world in the last 20 to 30 years.
Oh, okay.
30?
10.
Well, no. What I'm saying is that there have been things that looked like Warforged for about 30 years, but they were very much just automatons.
Right.
They were machines. They were blank slates. They followed orders and did not move or speak or anything else otherwise. Within the last 10 years, you are starting to get some kind of basic personalities and kind of almost droid-like demeanors, but still it is a programmed personality for the most part. Nothing like Tenzin, which seems to be actually an individual.
So people make assumption about him, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, most definitely. He's looked at very oddly, for one, because he's wearing robes, which is something that Warforged don't normally do. And
Well,
yeah,
he has also an artificial penis, and we want to cover it up.
And yeah, basically most Warforged are just assumed to be a tool rather than a person.
Change their minds, Doc.
All right.
Droid lives matter.
Next up, we have, is it Zai? Did we decide on?
Yeah.
Okay, Zai, go ahead.
Zai. You only know that Zai is from High Shu because she's mentioned it maybe twice. But she doesn't mention her past much.
She's from
She's not going.
she's from Palad, you mean? She speaks High Shu,
Oh, yeah.
which the
Palad.
place is Palad.
Which she calls Carator, not Palad.
To make it
She's
even
quite
more
adamant
confusing.
about that. Don't call
Okay.
it Caravan. Don't call it Palad. You call it Carator. Even though she doesn't want to go there. She doesn't want to go back. She's only looking forward. She is a warlock. With some glowing tattoos that go down her back and her arms. That is not going to be my voice. Dear Lord, I got to come up with a voice.
I was wondering if that was going to be the voice you were going to go with.
It's an easy voice to do, but dear Lord, it makes me cringe. Yeah, I think me and Casey established that Zaya is basically Snow White. She's pretty good with animals. It was an accident. I didn't mean to, but yeah, it's just her past and everything. It's kind of like Snow White. She's happy. She's a happy, bright, literally a bright person. Holds herself well,
Didn't.
but humble. She's well spoken, pretty good high common, unlike other characters that I have had in the past. Yeah, there's really not much to say about her. She's just happy to be here.
All right. Yeah, for the record, Palad is a city to the far, far south.
I couldn't find it on the map. That was one thing I was supposed to mention. I couldn't find it on the mini-map.
Let's see. Oh, do you know why?
Because it's not there.
I think the mini-map is cut off.
Yep. Right over here. That's Pallid, right? Right there? Yeah, there you go. No, that's...
That's
Stell.
Where the hell's Pallid?
Oh, there's
Pallid's there.
Pallid.
Southeast.
Oh shit! And those are the isolationists, right?
Well, Pallid and Alum. Alum are actually the ones that you know to be isolationists. They're the ones down here on the southern tip of that continent.
Mm-hmm.
Pallid, you don't necessarily know them to be isolationists, but she's the only one of them you've ever met or heard about anyone meeting. So you can kind of assume they must be isolationists.
And she's very adamant about not going back as well.
Yeah.
There's no like, oh no, I can't go to Pallid. Like, I like Titan.
Titan's good. I like it here. This is fine.
Yeah, so based on the fact that you've never met anyone else from Pallid, you've never heard of anyone else meeting anyone else from Pallid, yeah, there's that. And then we'll move on to Zephyr.
Oh man, have you seen this rust bucket? It's so big. That's kind of the first impression you would have had of my guy. He is.
It's
He
no rust
would-
bucket. It's an armor.
He has a nickname for everybody. He is a teenager at heart. He really is. He speaks of his past, and it can make anybody cry. Do you know? I remember lying in bed. You know, they strapped me down, like properly strapped me down, and they used this drill and drilled into my bone. And they talked about getting some bone marrow. It hurt like hell. I wouldn't suggest anybody getting that. Anyhow, you know, Sai, you're amazing. I love those tattoos. He's
Appreciated.
he's that kind of character. In terms of personality wise with the party, I mean the man is blue. there's no going about it. He is a Ganassi. He keeps talking about his father that died protecting him for an ancient quest, and he remembers being inside one of those like big lightning things that came down when he was born. His dad kept talking about like how he found him inside one of them, but he doesn't really know what happened there. There's a commander that keeps chasing him that wants him to do some task for him, and they keep, you know, that they want his powers for something. He doesn't really know what. But it's all good. I'm here to help. So the reason he joined the party was because he saw you, the rust bucket, Roach, and he was like, oh wow! You would see like these big eyes. You think that's amazing.
And you going, oh wow! He would kind of go like, yeah, damn right.
Oh, can I follow you? Can I follow you? Can I follow you? So he would kind of have that kind of personality, and he would join. And you would, when you're with him, you will soon discover that he's exceptionally fast, like ridiculously fast. And he would play.
Would you say lightning fast?
Pretty much. And he would play with lightning. I'm not kidding.
Thank
He
you.
would sit there and play with lightning bolts and draw lightning out of nothing. Well, he doesn't really know how he does it. It just happens sometimes.
What do you have? The cantrip shock touch or whatever?
Yeah,
Shocking grasp.
Yeah, I do. Shocking
Among
grasp,
other things, yes, he does.
among other those. basically, Ganassi gets pretty much every cantrip from air and lightning. So you have like a ton of cantrips. So yeah, that's pretty much my guy. He's a bit of a teenager. I mean, Ayo is cool. Roach is cool. Tense is brilliant. And Chow.
So that's gonna stick. Okay.
Yep. Yep. That's me. I think there's not much to tell other than that.
All right. So, that is all of you. There is, of course,
What?
also Care. There's not much to say about Care. He was a pig farmer at the edge of the green zone, in a little kind of area of hovels. He scavenged bins and trash piles for food and fed it to pigs, which he then used for his own food and to barter with others. The Titans Guard came in, told them that, they were in the way, they were where they should not be, burned everything to the ground. The only pig that survived was Lord High Muck, who Care is very protective of, and he was then kidnapped and taken as a slave, and you rescued him from the slavers beneath the city.
Why did we do that? Other than helping out the good guys?
Good Samaritan.
It was more along the lines of you fought the slavers and rescued the slaves, and he kind of followed you home.
Okay.
Like a stray. One of you guys said, can we keep him?
Yeah, there was never necessarily a conscious choice on your parts for him to stay with you. He just kind of did. Basically, in the aftermath of everything, you were all kind of there, and one of you had put one of your traveling bags down, went to reach for something, it was out of reach, and he immediately ran up, grabbed the bag, and brought it to you, and kind of just started following you around and basically taking a subservient role, basically just helping out however he can. And he's basically been following you around ever since. The other person that I want to introduce you to, as I mentioned previously, is Durnan, the Tavern Keep. Now, I've not put him on the page because he's not an NPC follower, but he certainly is someone that you would know, and someone who you would be having encounters with. So, let me just tell you a little bit about him once I find my information about him.
It's in the Flowing Flagon Tavern in Titan. I've already read it.
Same.
And I noticed that it's exactly like something else that I read in a book.
Of course it is.
Something like, I would say that it's kind of almost word for word.
Yeah, it is. It is word for word, except he removed a few things and added other things.
Yeah.
I changed it a bit to make it setting specific.
Okay.
But for anyone who has not read it, Durnan was apparently, if you believe his own story, an innkeep of this tavern during the First Age. Yeah, that kind of was a surprise to most people when they hear it.
Wait,
Hang
is
on,
he?
I
What
read-
race is he?
He's a human.
Human, yeah.
Well, wasn't it dwarf?
Did I visit this tavern during the
Mert's
first
a
age?
dwarf.
Basically, I'm trying to think of the easiest way to say it without going through the entire story. But legend has it that in the First Age, there was a wizard who built a tower within the village of Tirmerdon, which you do know to be the current site of the city of Titan, and basically delved into some tunnels underground in search of magical power. They built their tower on top of the entrance to this labyrinth of underground tunnels. Eventually, the wizard and his apprentices died off, and the tower fell to ruin, but the tunnel remained. In time, two men came along and delved into the tunnels. They were the first to actually return from within the tunnels and came back with riches and magical treasure. One of them decided to go off and spend his money and buy a mansion. The other decided to retire from adventuring and built a tavern on top of that hole into the underground. In the first age, he called that the Flowing Flagon.
The hole that we just threw a bomb down?
Yep, that hole, yes. During the first age, some of the magic which he excavated from the world below granted him an unusually long lifespan, which supposedly exceeded even an elf's lifespan. And he spent decade after decade behind the bar and leaving the delving underground to the younger people. He actually charged admission for people to go down the hole and explore below. He also charges for them to come back up. So that's
I like him.
Yeah. Get down here, and then but I'm keeping the rope.
Anyone who wants to come back up, they lower down a bucket first. They put the payment in the bucket, and then when the bucket reaches the top, then they lower down the platform for them to come up on.
So he's at least how many thousand years old?
Well, that's the thing, is he did all of that in the first age. He lived for a few hundred years. And then, for some bizarre reason, one day he got out from behind the bar and said he was going underground again. That was the end of his story in the first age. Obviously, then the first age came to an end. The tavern collapsed. The entrance to the well collapsed. And for the most part, it was forgotten about. But for whatever bizarre reason, the plot of land where the tavern had once stood was never built on top of. For some reason, there was something that just told people not to build there. Eventually came the dawning of the Third Age. Magic returned in fire and light and chaos, and still that plot of land was empty. A few weeks after the return of the royals, there was a small earthquake, and some rocks and rubble shifted on the site, revealing the entrance to the well. Obviously concerned that there was this massive hole in the middle of town, city guard decided to keep an eye on it, and a few nights later heard a voice screaming up from the well. They thought that a citizen must have fallen in, rushed to help him out, and the guy introduced himself as Durnan, seemingly having completely missed out on what had happened in the world over the last 2,000 years. There was a lot of confusion, a lot of people saying there was no way it could possibly be him. And then, through some odd twist of fate, it seemed that, although nothing was ever publicly said, it was just decided that it was actually him. The land was officially deeded back into his name, and using the wealth that he had brought back up with him, he rebuilt the tavern, stepped back behind the bar, and he's been there now for the last 20 years.
I'm saying now it's not him.
Is this like something a well-known story, or is this something that we know because we saved the story?
He tells this story all the time.
Oh.
It's a famous. The inn is famous because of it. People come from miles around to hear this story.
Did I visit this tavern in the first age?
Roll me a d20.
Okay.
He's totally gonna just call out your plot.
Oh! Starting off the campaign with the nat 20. That's nice.
You did visit this tavern in the first age.
Cool.
Was
And
he there?
that definitely looks like the same guy.
So you walk in like, hi, hi Jordan, hi Ian. Sit
Not
down.
only-
Wait a minute.
Not only that, But you can also, because you were here before, corroborate that to the best of your memory, this place has been rebuilt exactly like that tavern was that you were in previously.
Sorry for throwing the bomb down the well, but there was no other option. Okay, Durnan?
He kind of chuckles and says, well, it didn't go off up here, so we'll call it even. But if
Okay,
you do
good.
But if you do it again, you're paying for the cleaning. That was a mess.
Why don't you have the terrorists pay for it?
Because you didn't catch them yet.
Well, we're gonna go do it. Give me another beer, please.
All right.
Thank you.
Slides it across the bar at you.
Go ahead and pick it up with magic and walk off with it.
Yes. Basically, though, that does bring in the point that because he is from the first age, he is very comfortable with magic in his bar. More comfortable than probably anyone else in the city of Titan.
Cool.
And there we are. I turn it over to you guys. What are you discussing after you have your
Okay,
your new beer?
so we've got 5 names here. We've got
Oh yeah, we have like a list. Everyone's a little bit drunk. Like, yeah, names.
Zai's like scribbling it on a napkin and it's like going over onto the table.
I'm looking at all the bears. I'm not allowed to drink yet.
Yeah. So we have...
I go ahead and hand the ball of liquor to you. It's like pass it in front of you.
It's very slightly, like very subtle. So we got
Yeah, now what happens when the guy that's made out of lightning touches the ball of liquid that's not being held in a container?
Doesn't
does it have electrolytes?
Electrolytes, nice. So we have the Paladins and his followers, Roaches and his gang, and no? Okay.
Oh, what? You forgot the best one. Titan's Fist. It's like a sex joke, but not.
How is that a sex joke? I don't get it.
Oh. So when a man
you
and another
still
man
just-
love each other very much,
Or a man
you
and
know
a man.
what? We'll have this conversation later.
Oh, okay.
Genasi sex is very different than normal people, so don't worry about it.
What about an ogre and a human?
Wait, just real quick, I know what he is, right?
Oh yeah, you,
Yeah,
you,
we-
you-
Yeah, we all know.
Everyone
okay.
here knows, but you've got the most background because first age. Yeah.
I'm not
I just
shy
didn't know
about
how
telling
basic
anybody.
Genasi were.
Well,
Look, I'm not
Genasi,
saying
just to cover that before we move on, Genasi have only started to be born again quite rarely in the last 20 years since the Royal. So for 2,000 years there were none, and now quite rarely they will be born.
Okay.
I'm not saying that Roach's gang is not a good name. I'm just saying perhaps we should come up with a different one that includes the entire party, not just one person.
Can I speak?
Yes, you
Do
can.
you all believe yourself to be children of Olyndar?
Oh, you Dan, it was my turn.
No.
Rough bucket and thunder. No?
Add it
That's
to the
just-
list, Roach.
Yeah.
Wait, I have the list.
Yeah. Tenzin, back me up here.
I'm alright with whatever you.
Oh.
Not careful with the, it does
Yes.
cut off a little bit.
Nice.
You gotta keep it on for a little bit afterwards, because it still processes the audio, just letting you know.
Tenzin, could you please
Very
read
well.
all of them? All of the names.
Can you read all the names like twice?
Yeah.
I do not have the list. Can you give me the list?
I haven't actually got a list. Hang on, I'll type it out.
It's a metaphorical list.
It's metaphorical.
Yes, of
Oh.
real suggestions and drunken suggestions.
I
I'm
almost
bored.
forgot. I'll be right back.
I take up my iPad and I start browsing for games. I'm bored.
I'm gonna go up to the bar and just get an apple. Just buy an apple. See if Dernan has an apple on him. Dernan! Dernan! Dernan!
What? What?
Sweetie, can I buy an apple off you? Or do you have an apple I could have? I just need an apple.
If you don't call me sweetie again, yes.
Okay, honey bun. That was a joke. Get it? Joke. Joking. I have paid a lot of money this evening for drinks that I probably didn't even need to pay for because people are buying me drinks left, right, and centre. And I have not vomited on your floor once.
And keep it that way.
Of course.
He reaches around the back and you can see him digging around a bit and he finally finds an apple. And it's probably a day or two past its best. You can see apples probably aren't a big seller in this place. But it's an apple.
In a bar?
In a bar? You don't say. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Darren. And then
You're
head back to the table. As Tenzin finishes reading the list.
I believe what was put forward so far was Rust Bucket and Lightning.
Huh?
Roach's gang, Children of Olyndar, and I had put forward the Vigilant.
Oh, no, I didn't say Children of Olyndar. I asked if you were Children of Olyndar. No, my name suggestion is Olyndar's offspring.
That seems
Much
a bit
better.
clinical.
We can be named Conab.
Can we name what?
It's a thing in my game. See, Conab. He turns
Conab.
around. He turns around again and like, yeah, I'm learning how to write.
Oh, fuck, that's adorable. I can't deal.
Oh.
Dog's got a motherfucking voice. We've got a teenager. I can't deal
Zephyr,
with
put
this.
that thing away. It'll rot your brain.
I'm using it to learn words.
It'll rot your brain.
Fine.
And the word says bacon.
He's
They have
learning.
yet to be that's yet to be proven. Oh, it could be called Bacon. The Bacon Bunch.
Bacon is really good.
Good idea, Z. Okay. So we've got to go through the list again.
We have the something of Olyndar, and we have the Vigilant. I, for one
And the
thing,
Rust Bucket.
I think that's kind of exclusive, considering I'm the only one here. It feels like I'm a one-man team in that case. Which I am, of course, but I'm with you all. So,
I remember when I first saw you standing on that field, looking.
heroically,
Yeah.
in the distance.
Oh, I thought you were looking at that girl. Sorry. My bad.
No, I'm practicing my smoldering.
Oh, okay.
It's not a good idea to keep staring at the sun to practice.
We have special glasses for that now. I'll buy you a pair one day. But for now, let's get back on the name part.
You went Frau then.
I did. Because I was trying to act drunk, and that Thrall just comes out there naturally.
Oh, that's so cool.
We could come up with a name later.
No, I thought we had to have a name now because we wanted to get popular.
Who wants to get popular?
I'm pointing out, pointing at the Rust Bucket. Well, he said.
Because of your camera position, you're actually pointing at Doc.
Point down.
Actually, on the recording one, he actually did point at Madman there.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
damn. Kim knows.
The way the
Oh,
recording
shit.
actually has you right now is, if you're looking at it, Kim is on the far left, Madman's in the middle, and Jamie's on the far right.
So good.
And then the two that aren't on camera are below.
Madman would be in the middle, wouldn't he?
Of course.
I
they would,
actually
yeah.
have that as well. Yeah.
I mean, We can go with anything, really. It doesn't really matter. I mean, at the end of the day, we just want to be like super popular superheroes, right? And help everybody.
Do you reckon once we've chosen a name, it will stick?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Should probably make a
But
good
you know,
plan.
once a name is a name, then it doesn't always have to make sense.
It's like the man that captured me and left me for torture in a dungeon for 4 years. I mean, he found a good name for himself. He called himself Blakes. I mean, he's brilliant. It's a name that sticks.
I need another drink.
Things just get quiet.
I would recommend that for now we table the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that most people will call us what they want. Our choice regardless.
Oh, I want to be called Thor.
That's already a god.
I know. I want to be as cool as him. He's got like lightning and everything, and he's got his hammer. Oh yeah, it's so cool.
It's a good role model to have. Very good. Role models is something you're supposed to have when you're young. I'd had.
Any.
Smoldering again.
I think for now we can table this discussion. I think we have some good names for now.
Mm-hmm.
But what's actually on the docket?
Well, when we're traveling outside of Titan, there were some missions or some rumors about studying the royal and some border patrols, a ruin, and something about bad company.
I didn't have
That's
any
a good
attention at
name.
all.
The bad company?
Yeah,
Bad company.
I'm writing it to the list.
Are we really bad
Unfortunately,
company?
it seems as if it was already been kicked.
You notice when you say that, a few people kind of look up from their tables, and then immediately put their heads back down again.
Oh,
See,
you want me
they-
to sap him?
they need to do that, but with admiration when they hear our name.
Seth.
All right, we're in a public
Really
place.
put your arms down.
Okay.
Not at the
Sorry.
table. Maybe when we're outside.
All right. Nice.
So, did we decide where we were going to go next?
Well, I did have a question.
Yes.
There was some talk about this new hero, which I'm unable to understand. What is that about?
Thanks for a minute. I've not heard such rumors.
Looks back at you. I don't know what you're talking about.
Can you please tell us what you've heard?
Maybe that's us.
But I heard about this.
Doc, what?
You're cutting out pretty badly there, Doc.
Am I cutting up? Anyway,
There we go. Just
Oh,
keep the key always pressed in.
I don't have a pressed in key. I'm just wondering how this is going to sound when I see the recording.
Probably the way they sound now.
He might not hear what we're hearing.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
So, I mean, there was a talk of a new hero in town, right?
I haven't heard this story.
There is a new hero in town. He's apparently faster and better and stronger than me, what I aim to be when I grow up.
Mm.
That's not much of a comparison. Can you be more specific?
No.
Well, I'm sure we will meet this new hero. When we do heroic things, one tend to meet other heroes.
Very well. And what of the sleeping giant?
What of him? Shouldn't he keep sleeping?
Well, I wanted to know the more specifics about him.
No, it was the remains of a dragon.
There was a dragon.
Yes, there was like this huge thing that breathes fire. You know, you must have seen them on TV. Huge things that breathe fire, and they're like creatures of. They said they're almost 3,000 years old, and they're like ancient. And apparently one of them still sleeps in a cave nearby, just around the corner.
Roach kind of has the fantasy of slaying a dragon. And then he realized, oh, they're big. They're very big.
It's
Aiden.
like oh, it's just around the
Please
corner.
don't slay a dragon.
Aiden forms his ale into a dragon flying, just kind of slowly, and he says, "The dragons, they may not be as dead as people think. The lack of magic, it would have caused them to fall dormant, but not necessarily kill them."
Hey, Xiao, wasn't I not allowed to do that?
Do what?
I don't. I was like taking a drink. It was just like mid-drink. I'm like, shit.
There are a
Christopher,
lot
were
of
you
people.
paying attention?
There are a lot of people watching the dragon as it's flying.
It's not very big, guys. I mean, it's like
No,
the
no,
size
no.
of your hand.
No,
or
I
something.
mean, and you created using just an effect in the air, right, or something?
It's made out of the ale. Shape
Yeah.
of it.
As you do that, I'm gonna like. I was told not to do that, so I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna use Gus to throw the ale out of the way.
Do you throw it in my face?
No, out to the side.
Okay.
He
I was
That's
basically,
very rude.
if he gusts the dragon, it's basically going to scatter ale across 3 different tables.
Mm.
Which, of course, is going to mean more people are now looking at you. Some of them are a bit annoyed.
I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry.
That's wrong.
3 rounds, all on me.
Sorry.
Sits down again. Good, because I can't
It's
afford
okay,
that.
Z. It's okay.
Sorry.
You say
He
that,
clean-
and they all kind of sit back down.
He cleans up all the ale into the ball again.
I'm sorry, Aiden. I was just told that we weren't allowed to do that.
Doc?
Oh,
Oh yeah. He presses the gate in the.
Prestidigitated.
prestidigitated.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be that harsh, Aiden. I don't know my own strength. It's just that I know that we're not allowed to do that, so I couldn't help myself. We must follow the
allowed
law.
to do it in this bar as long as you're respectful about it.
Oh. Okay.
Duran, who's actually now passing out the drinks that Zai is paying for, leans forward at you and says, "Throw it on your own table, not other people's."
It was him. And I point right at the kid.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll give you gold.
He's not even drinking. I sounded like Frau. Damn it, man.
I can't
He
help
wasn't
it,
even the
alright?
one drinking. Really? It just comes out naturally.
I'm gonna take out the gold from my pouch and like, here you go. Sorry.
What time of day is it, Casey?
It is
8
sunset,
in the morning.
early evening.
Right. So everyone, I think we should just pick something and just go with it.
Bacon sticks.
The dragon sounds fascinating, but it's a little bit out of our league, and it's a fair distance away. This hero sounds interesting, but what could we actually do? It's not like he's a bad guy.
Guys, we need to save the daughter of this elf maid. I feel so sorry.
I agree.
I agree with that.
I feel so sorry for her. I mean, I lost my parents. I know how it is to lose someone you love.
It's like a walking sob story.
Everyone's like, stop it.
Or like a 16-year-old emo kid.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Doc,
I
you
knew
were
what it
saying?
was like to lose my arm.
Doc?
Have you ever had to face your immortality at 8 years old? I have.
I just said I had heard that as well.
Rescuing a young maiden sounds like an honorable quest. Should we settle for that?
And she only offers 234 silver, but in honestly, we're not going to take payment for this, are we?
What of the return of the records?
I mean, we must do it.
So, we should go for that then. The young elven maiden.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
I got two.
Oh, I
Of
thought we were
course.
raising a flag. I raised a cup.
I can't see you guys raising a hand or not, but
Okay.
Very well.
yeah, okay. It's decided.
All right.
Huzzah.
I'll do as I always do. I'll stay by you and make sure that I don't make a mock-up, Roach. Okay.
Now, what do we know? Where is this elf maid?
What you know is that she has a small cottage in the green zone, and that basically she is pleading for help. Her daughter has gone missing. She describes her daughter. She is a young elf. By that, she's 65 years old. She is about 5'4", with
hang
red
on.
hair.
Fuck, I need to write this down. Okay, go ahead.
5'4", red hair, green eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and the daughter answers to the name Cyrilla.
Cyrilla.
Really?
Not Corella. Okay. I suggest that we celebrate
Got that right.
and think about a new name, and in the morning we go and talk to this mother.
Sounds like a plan.
Right.
Okay. I'll go turn in. I'll be up early. I'll wake you all.
Oh yay!
Yes. So who wants to do a drinking game with me?
I'm down.
Good night.
Good,
Okay. My guy's
good
gonna go to bed.
night, Zephyr.
What are the
Sleep
laws
tight.
for staying out in Titan at night?
Sorry?
What are the laws for staying out in Titan at the night? Is it like a curfew or a bedtime?
There's no curfew. There's certainly no bedtime. You take a greater than average chance of being stopped by a guardsman and asked if everything's okay, basically.
Again, profiling, considering you're an elf.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's not illegal, but it's unusual enough that they may ask a couple questions.
Well, what's an elf doing around town this time of night?
Yeah, it's not a common thing for people to be out in the middle of the night. Now, like I said, it's still fairly early evening right now, so
Out
the
for a
streets
stroll, are
are
ya?
still fairly busy. But within the next couple hours, as it starts moving into true darkness, it would be, yeah.
Okay, because I'm wanting to. Does anyone know about the bounty for the return of records?
I did not know that was a quest.
For
That's
25
I don't think I have that on
yeah,
mine.
that,
That's
That's on the
actually
bounty
posted
board.
on the bounty board.
yeah.
Hmm.
It's from the Order of the Iron Soul. That was actually one of the achievements I think we could have gone.
Oh, the bounty board of Book and Blade.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see this. My bad.
Yeah, that's got a few more quests on there.
Oh, the mother's name is Leywin?
Llewellyn.
Leywin? Oh, no.
Lewin. Yeah.
You'd think, as an elf, I could pronounce elvish names.
It's right, I have a little book, which
Yeah.
really helps out.
I mean, if we could, like, just get some information around it whilst we're out waiting,
I'm gonna
that's
get
what I
some
would try
chips.
to do.
Well, I
Huh?
mean, it's like evening, so we could do it in the morning.
Well, yeah, we could do it now though too.
Yeah, I mean, if it's like, where would we do that though?
Oh, where do you typically take stolen things?
Oh, sorry, I was still hung up on the Elven Maiden.
Oh,
Okay,
right.
yeah,
No,
sorry,
I was just
okay,
talking about. I'm not talking about doing
Yeah,
it.
you
I'm
were.
talking about
Yeah.
getting information.
Hey, I'm only human.
I'm only human after all.
That's exactly the same thought that was going through my mind. Don't put your blame.
Madman,
Yes.
roll me history if you've got it.
I have not.
Then just roll me an intelligence check.
I'm a former farm boy, son.
Yeah, it's just the closest skill I could think for.
Oh, shit, son!
Fucking hell.
Dude,
Damn!
we are off on a good fucking start.
Yes,
Yeah,
We
you
are
yeah.
not rolling anything below 20 tonight. All
Yeah.
natural 20s.
Word.
Don't make it so much worse. A high setup is a high crash, guys.
No. Only 20s from now out. This
Really up
campaign,
on you.
guys, only 20s. It's a policy of ours.
Casey, I'm preemptively casting Shimmer Dust.
Adding
Just gonna keep it up 24/7.
Yeah, that's not going to be taken kindly to in the pub, in the bar. No. Okay.
I don't know what I rolled a check for, though.
I'm about to explain.
Ah!
You actually happened to remember a little bit about this from the last time you were actually at the Paladin's Citadel.
Mhm.
There's been a lot of talk about some of the personal records and journals belonging to the squire of Lord Tyrell.
That's a big deal.
Going missing.
Lord Tyrell being.
It's Lord. It's one of the commanders, right?
He is one of the 5.
Yeah. So top brass.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
he's a big deal.
Yeah. So I guess after Roach, kind of shit. Now I'm also saying it. Things for a while, like, oh, by the way,
I'm
I
back.
do remember this. Welcome back. It's actually the squire of Lord Tyrell that lost his record, or stolen in this case. So it would put in a good word for me for